Hey, it's go time. Football season is here. Fall camp, day one. It has begun. Well, let's get into it, man. It's going to be an exciting season. Let's go.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Hey, however you got here, thanks for making us part of your day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. So it's an exciting time of year because football is here. NFL training camps gets you kind of juiced up, but when college starts, you know it's right around the corner. When teachers start going back to school, you know it's right around the corner. So it just gets that happy buzz going on, and it's the feel-good time of the year for every program around the country. It is day one for a lot of people, and if it's not day one's probably tomorrow for a lot of people. But for Vanderbilt, it's happened. Day one is in the books. It's underway, and there's a lot of exciting things happening there. And some other exciting news is Locked On they might be starting to act like a real network now. And I say that tongue in cheek. We already are a real network, but we came out with our own rankings. All the Locked On hosts got together, ranked all the players from around the country, came up with a top 100. It is quite the list. And it's we'll talk about that. We'll break that down a little bit. There is a Commodore in the top 100. You could probably guess who it is, but there is a Commodore in the top 100. I'm not going to spoil it unless you follow me on X, then it's probably already spoiled. But fall camp, lots of storylines, lots of takeaways, lots of great things happening with fall camp. Anytime you log on to social media and you see this, that is exciting. And the clips are starting to come out now from practice, all of that stuff. But, man, this is going to be a really, really fun season, and I think the belief is there. And there's some things that are happening. The vibes are great. The confidence is high. Whatever that translates into, I'm not sure. But you can only think right now that it's good. And, of course, one of the things that's not surprising is Diego Pavia is going to get enough reps to get his timing down and to be ramped up. And they'll, as the summer goes along, they'll ramp up his reps in certain situations just so he can get his timing down. So he's not trying to do that against Charleston Southern. He'll try to have that down before that game. But, they're looking for a backup quarterback, which, Blaze Berlowitz, he put his best foot forward in day one. Diego Pavia had a stellar day, and I think the biggest thing for Pavia is, like, there's a clip out there of him throwing a one-on-one rep to Richie Hoskins, and I know there's no rush, and it's just the center snapping the ball, but he's going through his drop progression, and I noticed the one thing I noticed, and you can see it very briefly, but I did notice his release got a little bit quicker. It's a little bit more compact and it's a little bit quicker. That's from the angle that I saw. That's what I felt like it was. And it felt like on that clip, he was working on three-step timing. He was working on a three-step timing on a fade, trying to put the ball where it needs to go, through an accurate ball, put it exactly where it needed to go to beat the defender. Richie Hoskins goes up, high points the ball and brings it down. It was a stellar play, stellar rep from Richie Hoskins. But if you look at it from a Diego Pavia standpoint, his release was great. His mechanics seem to be a little bit more efficient, which is going to benefit him in the long run. And Clark Lee bragged about his decision-making. And I know it's day one. They're not in pads. They're in those little, little pads. Like they have these little thin pads that they wear so that they can make contact. But it's nothing significant. It's an acclimation period. And it was 110 degrees outside. So what more could they get done? But his decision-making in some of the 7-on-7 periods and some of the throws that he was making, some of the play, it's just getting command of the huddle, just being unequivocal, like all the benefits that come with not having to be in a quarterback competition and knowing from minute one, you're the guy. I think is extremely valuable as far as getting quality reps, because he is now refining the things that are going to take him from good to great, and then from great to elite. So is Diego Pavia going to be a top 100 player at the end of the year? That is possible. And then Blaze Berlowitz, I think when you're looking at a quarterback of the future, Blaze Berlowitz was very decisive, Clark Lee had to say. I listened to Clark Lee's press conference after his comments after, and he said Blaze Berlowitz took care of the ball. He made great decisions, made confident on-time decisions. Obviously, he's had the strongest arm in camp the whole time. So that's not a surprise, but he's got poise. He's got confidence now. He is starting to take command, and he's not going to beat out Diego Pavia, and that's not the competition, but he's going to be the next in line, because Diego Pavia plays a certain style of football that leads to him taking a lot of hits, and maybe Diego Pavia will learn how to avoid some of those big shots. But the fact that I think this staff is going to have confidence in Blaze Berlowitz is something to be excited about, because if, God forbid, something does happen, I don't think your season is totally lost if you have to go with Blaze Berlowitz. I think he gives you enough right now that you can probably still be competitive. Are you going to win 8 games with Blaze Berlowitz? I don't know. Given the fact that, we don't know what weapons are emerging around him, but I'm pretty stoked about that. And then of course the heat, man, it's brutal. Those of you in the Nashville area, man, it is brutal. And I think it's brutal all around the Southeast, and supposedly there's some reprieve coming, and you could probably see me sweating right now. I mean, it is like, I think they said the heat index is still in the 90s right now as I'm recording this. It's 9:05 local time, and it's still blazing hot outside. So, to get work done in that environment and not have to do it inside, which I'm surprised they didn't practice inside today, but I think it's impressive, and the conditioning is paramount there, and I'm really excited about what there is on the table for these weapons and things like that. But the quarterback position, I think, is in good shape. I think there was a lot of good reps to be had. Obviously, Diego Pavia and Blaze Berlowitz were the ones highlighted, but I think overall, if offense is sharp, I think that means that the quarterbacks had a really good day. In 7-on-7 periods and whatever else they did competitively, they look pretty good and pretty sharp. And, day one, if you could just, it's all, and it's all a mindset. It's all about small wins, right? And people like to look at the big picture and say, pump the brakes, it's Vanderbilt, they don't win, blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of confidence that could be had after one day of practice. It's not the end all be all, but I think I think if you start collecting these small wins, you have a good period. Then you back that up with another good period, and then you stack up enough good periods to say, hey, I had a good practice. Then you do it all again the next practice and say, oh, I had 2 good practices in a row. I'm feeling pretty good. And then you continue that trend. I think confidence and mindset and the mental aspect of it, you can take advantage of that. I think they won the Bama game based on sheer will and sheer confidence. They got up on Alabama and they didn't let up, and it was no fluke. It was no fluke. It was all mindset. And it started they had a great week of practice. They had a lot of positive things happen in the Missouri game, even though they didn't win. They had enough positive things happen that your mindset is good. So being sharp, being clean, being crisp does mean something, right? If it's sloppy, it's not a good start. It's not going to derail you, or a great practice is not going to propel you to a national championship. But it's all about just collecting those small wins, as many as you can. So I like it there. But speaking of things that I like, this wide receiver position battle, is there going to be a weapon that emerges? I think that's a great thing and a scary thing all at the same time. And then there's a Commodore that made top 100. We'll talk about that too, speaking of weapons. And we'll do all of that next. All right, talking about drip drop, man. We get to talk about hydration, man. Water boy. No, if you're into staying on top of your routine, whether it's workouts, long days on campus, or staying focused through back-to-back classes, or just simply beating the oppressive heat that's here in Nashville, hydration is where it all starts, man, and that's where drip drop comes in. When I'm on top of my hydration, I notice everything works better, man. My energy, my mood, my focus, my skin. I'm sweaty right now because it's so hot. But getting enough fluid every day isn't always easy. That's why I've been loving Drip Drop, man. And honestly, Drip Drop is doctor developed and scientifically proven for fast hydration. It uses perfect balance of sodium, electrolytes, and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of a leading sports drink. So I love the citrus flavors. Any citrus flavor, there's like a citrus variety pack. That's like perfect for me, right? It's a go-to, man. And I try all of these electrolyte powders, and there's some good ones out there. But, honestly, when I tried Drip Drop for the first time, that might be my new go-to, honestly. And it keeps me hydrated, keeps me focused, keeps me feeling great. So I'm going to keep a few in my desk at work, keep a few in my bag, and then I'll obviously keep some on hand here at the house to be right there and ready to roll. So it's going to be it's become my new go-to. I've only had one so far because I just got them. I ordered them, just got them. So I just tried one for the first time, and it is immediately, I can make that snap decision right now. It is immediately my favorite. So right now, go to Drip Drop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. Just head to dripdrop.com and use promo code Locked On College. Stay hydrated, my friends. All right, thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Locked On SEC is a place to go if you need some more coverage. Fall camp is launching, keyword launching, because we're all excited. Locked On SEC is a place to go. Chris Gordy is going to cover the entire conference. So it's a phenomenal, stellar place to go. Shout out to Chris Marler and Locked On Gamecocks. Did a crossover with him. Great dude, man. Great show. Very knowledgeable, very gracious. Just had a lot of fun with him, man. It's good to talk ball with somebody else and just bounce perspectives off each other, man, because like everyone's different. So it was a lot of fun. So shout out to him. But before we kind of get into, I want to switch gears for a minute because Locked On did come out with these top 100s. And I think it's very interesting because it's the first time the network has come out with these rankings themselves, right? It's the first time we've decided, hey, we're going to come out with these rankings, man, because this is what we do here at Locked On. We're growing. I'm growing. Y'all are growing. Thanks for making us your first listen. Thanks for making us a priority. And you everydayers, thanks for coming back. All right. So you want to know who and where? It's Eli Stowers. Comes in at number 81. He's featured in the picture even. I love that because he's the top of this particular set of players. I think when you look at top 100, I think some people can look at this number 81 and get kind of like, oh, he's 81. He's criminally underrated. But I think honestly, like I'm pretty stoked that Vanderbilt has a player on this list. I'm just going to be honest about that fact because I think it shows where Vanderbilt is progress-wise as a program. I think having a guy on this list, wherever he falls, I think being in the top, I think being at 81 and not just slap him onto the list just to say we got a Vandy guy on there, I think is a nod to like they really took Eli Stowers seriously in these rankings. And it was more than just me jumping in on all this. It was really the whole college network voting on these, sending in their list. And I'll be honest, I don't know enough about all of these people like Bryce Bochter from Oregon. I don't know enough to rank these guys 1 through 100. I just know some of the good ones and where they fit. So I'm going to take these lists as they are. I don't really have any grievances here, but Eli Stowers being there, I'm stoked about that. And I think there's a lot of momentum for Vanderbilt, and it's just another layer of recognition, right? And you could say, well, it's sad or it's whatever, but it's another layer of recognition. It's a lot of local experts, not just SEC people, but it's the entire college network putting this list together. And it just shows you there's a lot of SEC guys in this list. It just shows you kind of where our league is, the difficulty of our league, the difficulty to get recognition in this league. I think it shows you just kind of how special Eli Stowers is and how special he's going to be. And he plays a tight end he plays a position at tight end. It's just tight ends just aren't, they're never going to be like the number one player in the country because it's a positional thing. And for Eli Stowers, I think starting at 81, I think he'll finish above that. Honestly, I think he'll produce and he'll finish above that. That's not saying he's wrongly placed right now. It's just saying that I think he's 81. It is that's a solid number, and I think he's gonna finish above that because I think there's a lot around him. I think Diego Pavia, who should be on this list, who's not. That's my one grievance. It was Diego Pavia not being on this list. I think he should have been. Because you look at Dylan Raiola, and they spelled his name wrong. That shows you everything you need to know right there. Dylan Raiola. I think you get Luke Altmaier in there. Fernando Mendoza. Darian Mensah, good, but I think Diego Pavia is better than all of those guys. Avery Johnson's pretty good, but I would put Diego Pavia was right there with him. I think Diego Pavia belongs on this page for sure. Right? Let's see some other quarterbacks here. Carson Beck. Okay. All right. I can see that. Okay. I'm not mad at that. Kevin Jennings. Diego Pavia better than Kevin Jennings. I'll leave that for debate with everybody else. But he should be on this list somewhere. He produced in the top league in the country. He's that dude. Honestly, I think he's better than Raiola production wise. Coming in, probably not. I think Raiola has some of the measurables, obviously, over Pavia. He has the 5-star ranking over Pavia. He has some of that stuff, but I would put Pavia up with him. I would. And you can call me crazy if you want. South Carolina fans already think that, but the South Carolina fans are ready for me to say, "Oh, Lenore Sellers, yeah, he sucks." I've never said Lenore Sellers sucks, by the way. But I think he is, and I think South Carolina fans misunderstood me when I was comparing the two. I said their styles are very similar. They play very similarly in how they attack the game. Sellers obviously has more arm talent. He has a lot of things that Diego Pavia is striving for, and I think Diego Pavia can get it. But I think there's something about this Vanderbilt team that is going to be good. I think Pavia is going to produce. I think Pavia is going to break into this list at the end of the season. So I'm not going to it's not a grievance. It's just debate. I think he should be on this list. It is what it is that he's not. I think he'll play his way onto it for sure. And this is going to be a fun season nonetheless. But let's get back to these weapons, man, because one thing that's exciting and a lot of day one camp stuff, and this is probably going to be very much the same around the country. When you look at day one, you probably notice that there's not a whole lot of defense of recognition or mentions. And that's just kind of the way it is, because honestly, defense, you don't really do much defensively on day one, because it's all about tackling. It's all about hitting. It's all defense is you can't really judge defense until you get to full pads, till you get to contact, till you get to team periods. How do they mesh as a team? You can say, Keanu Cope looks the part. He gets out there and his stance is great. How he moves, all that stuff, great. The corners, they're fluid. They got beat a lot today. not to panic, but it's day one. Like, you don't really draw a whole lot from defense. So I'm not going to talk much about defense until it's time to talk about defense. Until defense does something noteworthy enough to mention. And that's not a shot at the defense. It's just me saying that's kind of just what practice is for them. They're working on timing. They're working on coverage. They're working on getting route recognitions. They're working on placements. They're working on communication and all of that stuff. If it goes smoothly, it's great. It's not newsworthy. It's to be expected. And not hearing anything exceptional about defense is usually a pretty, actually counterintuitively, pretty good thing. No news is good news on day one with your defense, because usually the news on defense on day one is they got slaughtered, right? Because there's just not enough hitting. There's not enough contact to really judge the defense fairly. And hey, I'm cool with that. So defensive guys, you're going to get your shine here soon, right? But right now, like offense, it's timing, it's route running, it's spacing, it's, these first few days, these acclimation period days are probably going to make the offense look better and more ahead. But let's be real. The defense is going to be there. The defense is going to be good. The defense is going to be disruptive. They're just not been put in a position to do so yet. And, some guys won some one-on-ones. The one-on-ones I think went about as you expect. Some guys won, some guys didn't win. It's very competitive, and that's what you want. You just want the competitive juice. You just want the work, and it's a lot about timing. It's a lot about lining up. It's a lot about route recognition defensively. It's all about, it's all about all that stuff. But what's encouraging to me is this: the wide receivers. We'll talk about that next, though. Stay tuned. Make sure I get another ad there. All right, thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Fall camp has begun, and we're cruising right along here, man. It's we're rapidly approaching the end. Make sure you subscribe, like, hit the bell notification, all that stuff. Add Locked On Vandy, place to go. But this season's going to be fun, man, and I think there's a lot to be excited about. And one of the things that excites me, at least on day one, and we'll see kind of how it emerges throughout the course of camp when defense gets in a position to where they are starting to be able to play more competitively, and it's not mostly just install and recognition stuff for them. They're going to be cut loose at some point. But the wide receivers, man, I think it's going to be a group where I think having not really anybody is actually going to benefit the whole room, because you got a bunch of guys fighting tooth and nail for positioning. You've got guys that are getting flat after it. Like Trey Richardson is going to be a dude, right? Junior Sherrill, his leadership qualities, Clark Lee, he was very complimentary of Junior Sherrill. He actually had this to say before I really get into the weeds about this receiver room. He said he's taken a step forward. I throwing in words there. I've been really impressed with his leadership, his presence in that room. Junior has taken that identity that we crafted last year and has pushed that room from the front. He's also in great physical condition. I expect him to have a breakout year. So that right there is, and you can say what you want to say. Oh, it's coach speak. It's this. So he's just saying that because he has to, right? No, he doesn't. Clark Lee can dance around anything. He comes out and goes into that much detail. Junior Sherrill is kind of taking it upon himself to say, you know what? This room needs a lead dog. Why not me? And he took it. And I think he's gonna benefit from that. I think he's going to be the lead off the ball receiver on the outside, commonly known as the Z receiver. For all you coaches out there, interested to know if you're a coach how you name your receivers. But I think he's going to be the Z receiver right now. Trent Hudson has leaned up. I think he's going to be your X receiver, who is your lead on the ball guy, which is usually a bigger, more physical type body. And then I think Trey Richardson right now And then when you bring over Martel Height, I think that's going to change some things a little bit. But because Martel Height played defense today, but when you factor that in, but Trey Richardson, I think, is going to be somebody that's going to say, okay, hold on a minute, like, yeah, maybe not take me off the field, right? And I know it's day one, and I know there's a lot of football left to be played, but I mean, these guys are starting to make plays for Pavia. I think Pavia is developing a nice rapport with these guys. I think these guys understand the timing and how the timing needs to work for them to be able to get the ball. And for Diego Pavia to be able to get the ball out on time, which is something Clark Lee raved about. And it's not just Diego Pavia hitting his drop and releasing the ball. Because if he's going to release the ball, somebody's got to be on the other end to catch it. And if somebody's on the other end to catch it, well, there's one of two things. One of two people will be there to catch it. Either the receiver will run a well-timed route at a precise depth with precise fundamentals and be there to snag it, or the receiver won't run a well-timed route, won't run the precise depth, kind of do his own thing, and a defender will be there to snag it. So I think right now, I think they feel good about these receivers because I think they understand not only what the play is designed to do, but it seems as though they are understanding positioning, timing, releases, where Diego wants them in the route progressions. And I think Diego knowing a little bit about the defense helps. So that's going to give you kind of a not so accurate picture of how the defense is really doing, because I think Diego Pavia is just that he just knows and he can pick apart our defense because he's the biggest expert. That doesn't necessarily mean another quarterback can. So don't ring the alarm bells just yet. But I just think the timing is getting there. I think, Trent Hudson played with Diego Pavia for a season. So I think he kind of knows where what he wants and how he wants it done. Junior Sherrill played all last season with him, had some struggles at times, inconsistent, because I just don't think they were on the same page timing wise. There's some routes where I think Sherrill broke one way, Diego threw like he was going to break the other. And thankfully, it didn't lead to more catastrophic plays, but there was a few drops in there that I think had the timing bit a little bit better, had the cohesiveness been on a little bit better. I think it would have been a completion in some of those instances. But just I think the trust is there. I think Diego's ready to let it go. I think he feels better about the quality and caliber of this year's group. Last year, you could tell there were some times where he'd drop back and he just wasn't sure if the guy on the other end was going to come down with it. And I think also sometimes he wasn't sure of what was going to happen with the ball because this league is a lot faster than Conference USA. So things were happening quicker around him. And I just don't think he was really quite there yet a lot of the times, at least in the drop back passing. When he sprinted out and was able to get on the edge, he was a little bit more successful, and he was great off-platform scrambling, because when you scramble and things break down, it's kind of a free-for-all. It turns into backyard football. That's what he does best. So his goal is to improve his pocket presence, improve his timing, and improve his decision-making. That can't happen unless your receivers are starting to step up. Junior Sherrill's doing that. Trent Hudson's doing that. Trey Richardson is doing that. I think Martel Height, when he comes over and plays some offense, he will do that as well. There's weapons emerging. Now, can they emerge? They're emerging. But like last year, they were emerging, but they never really emerged. This year, they're emerging again at a much more rapid ascent. Can they break through? We'll see. I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the potential of it. I think there's some great promise there with this group. I think there's some guys that can get it done. I think there's some body types that can be really dangerous in the red zone and in certain situations. I'm ready to see, Richie Hoskins made a really nice high point grab in a one-on-one rep. So like he's going to have something to say about it. I think McVay was, reportedly working with Jordan Matthews. Who the hell's Jordan Andrews? I don't know. Jordan Matthews, excuse me, was working with Jordan. I can't believe he was working with Jordan Matthews on the side there, and I think they were. I think this group is they're gonna see this competition. I think it's gonna breed a lot of that, and I think going up against a very talented defensive back group, I think that's also going to be extremely beneficial for them as well. So more to come on the receivers, more to come on the defensive backs too, right? More to unfold and unpack with those two position groups. It's going to be exciting though, nonetheless, watching all of this unfold, who emerges on the cornerback side of it, who emerges on the wide receiver side of it, who emerges in the safety portion of it. When they start hitting and full pads, like how's your offensive line going to shake out? I can't wait to talk about that. And all of that great stuff moving forward. But last thing I'm over time now, but I've got a minute or two. He made reference of conditioning and how we need to get tougher. Vanderbilt starts out with a 6-game stretch to begin the season before they get a bye. So that's going to be a tough go. So this team has got to get in shape. And, I think that's kind of why they went outside a little bit. They've got to be able to, survive the elements. And because it's going to be an inferno at Virginia Tech. It's going to be even more of an inferno at Williams-Brice. And, of course, Utah State and Georgia State, easy on paper, but those games are never really easy. And then you got Alabama, which is going to be a freaking cauldron. So it's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. So they're going to have to get in really good, tough mental shape. And I think that's going to be a main focus of these practice sessions, is getting their conditioning, getting their mental toughness, being able to operate not only under the pressure of the opponents bearing down on you, but the freaking oppressive southern weather just beating down on you. The sun feels like it is inside of Williams-Brice Stadium, right? The entire world is going to go into a nuclear winter because the sun is sitting on the 50-yard line. The sun has 50-yard line seats at Williams-Brice Stadium. So they're going to have to kind of get over that a little bit. And that'll be a tough thing to that'll be a tough hill to climb, tough mountain to overcome, or whatever idiom you want to use there. But that's all the time I got for this one. Fall camp is underway. The season has begun. We're here. It's exciting. So we got more camp coverage coming out the rest of this month. And when I say this month, I'm going to go ahead and act like it's August. But it's very exciting. So get a drip drop, stay hydrated, be careful, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Anchor down. We'll see you back. Peace.